Hello everyone, welcome back to Inain's Forensic Classroom. In earlier videos, we've talked about how evidence reaches the forensic lab and how the lab functions internally. Today, we are focusing on one of the most critical concepts in forensic science, something that can decide whether evidence is accepted or completely rejected in court. So today we will be talking about chain of custody. Even the most advanced DNA results or chemical analysis becomes useless if the chain of custody is broken. So today we will understand what chain of custody really means, how it is maintained, who handles the evidence at each stage, and what mistakes can destroy it. Now, let's start with what actually chain of custody means. So, chain of custody is basically a complete documented history of evidence from the moment it is collected at the crime scene until it is presented in the court. So, let's break down exactly how we maintain this chain in the Indian legal system. So, it must answer the 5 W's and 1 H. So, 5 W's as in first is who collected it and who handled it at every stage. Then what is the exact condition and description of the item, and when and where was it collected, when was it examined, or when was it transferred. It also answers questions like where was it stored, like basically down to a specific locker or to a shelf or to a specific room. And it also answers why was it moved, like for analysis, for court, or for storage, and also how it was sealed. So in India, this isn't just a suggestion. Under the Indian Evidence Act, which is now Bharatiya Sakshi Adhiniyam, the prosecution must prove the continuity of possession. So they should prove the continuity of possession. Now this means that there should be no missing links. If a sample leaves the police station on Monday but arrives at the lab on Wednesday and no one can explain where it was on Tuesday, that is a broken chain. So in legal terms, chain of custody ensures that the evidence produced in court is the same evidence which is collected at the crime scene without any tampering, substitution, contamination, or any unexplained gaps. So a weak chain of custody doesn't always mean the evidence is fake, but it creates reasonable doubt. And if you have a reasonable doubt, it is enough to weaken a case. Now let's get into the specifics of how we document this in India. Now many students think that it is just one form, but it is actually a series of documents. So the first one is forwarding note. So this is basically the letter from the investigating officer to the FSL director. Now it contains the director. Now it contains the specimen seal, which is basically a wax impression that the lab uses to compare against the seal on the actual parcel. Then we have the road certificate. This is very crucial. So when a police constable takes evidence from the station to the lab, they carry an RC. It is basically a travel log. So it is used to prove that the evidence didn't take any unauthorized detour. Then we have the Malkhana register. So every police station has a Malkhana. Malkhana is basically an evidence room. So the entry in the Malkhana register is basically the official birth of the chain of custody record. Now, while formats may vary across states and laboratories, the core information remains the same. A standard chain of custody form includes case number and FIR number. It also includes description of evidence, unique exhibit number, date, time, and place of collection. It also includes the name, rank, and signature of the person who's collecting the evidence, then seal number and the condition of the seal, So also every person who received and handed over the evidence, the purpose of evidence, the purpose of transfer, storage, analysis, everything is maintained. Now each entry creates a traceable link. Even if one link is missing, the chain becomes questionable. Now, let's trace a simple journey to see who handles it. Now, it starts at the crime scene. Now, at the crime scene, the investigating officer or the forensic expert is the one who bags the evidence. So, what they do is they apply a unique seal, which is basically, which is usually a wax with a specific design. Now, what they do is they sign the label across the seal so it cannot be opened without tearing the signature. This is where the chain of custody begins. Then moving to the evidence room at the police station. So the evidence is basically handled to the Malkhana in charge. Now this person acts as a gatekeeper. They record the time of entry and then they lock the evidence away. Evidence remains sealed and stored and until it's forwarded. Then comes the transport, which is basically during the transfer to the forensic lab. Now, a designated officer takes the parcel. They sign the register saying that I received this in a sealed condition, and all the transfer details are documented. Seals are also checked upon receipt. Then it reaches the FSL reception. Now, the lab's receiving officer, he inspects the parcel. If the wax seal is cracked or the description doesn't match the forwarding note, they can refuse to accept it. So after receiving the section, they verify seals, documents, and labels. After verifying everything, the case is officially registered and the evidence is stored securely until examination. Then we move on to what happens inside the lab. Now, once inside the lab, the scientist becomes the custodian. So scientists open the seals only during examination and they record it. Now, for example, if a DNA expert needs to send the sample to the toxicology division, so a physical transfer memo is signed. Every internal movement is logged. After this, the evidence may be produced in court. And now the officer or the expert presenting it must explain its chain of custody. After the court, evidence may return to storage or be disposed of as per the orders. Now let's talk about mistakes, because most chain of custody failures happen due to negligence, not due to intention. So the common violation includes missing signatures or dates on custody form, or we have broken or unrecorded seals. We can also find mismatch between evidence description and the actual item. The evidence is stored in unsecured location, or we have unauthorized persons who are handling the evidences. Now then we also might have gaps in documentation where it is unclear who had the evidence and when. We also have delays without explanation. Now even a small error can be used by the defense to question credibility. Now, to wrap everything up, chain of custody is about accountability. As a forensic scientist, you are not just a person in white coat doing experiments. You are a witness to the evidence. When you stand in the witness box, the defense lawyer won't just ask about your findings. They'll ask, who gave you the key to the evidence locker? And did you record the exact time you broke the seal? If you can't answer those questions with documentation, your scientific genius won't matter. Justice depends on the integrity of the process as much as the accuracy of the science. So today we understood what chain of custody is, why it matters legally, how it is documented, who handles evidence at every stage, and what mistakes destroy it. So in the next video, we will continue breaking down forensic concepts, the way they actually work. So thank you for joining me today at Inain's Forensic Classroom. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comment box. See you in the next video. Bye.